The body lay sprawled on the cold concrete floor, a lone playing card resting on its chest, the Jack of Spades. No witnesses, no sign of forced entry, just an eerie silence hanging in the air. The stench of death mixed with the scent of stale cigarettes, creating a nauseating aroma. Detective Elias Mercer surveyed the scene, his eyes narrowed. He had seen his fair share of grim cases, but something about this one felt different, colder, more calculated. The victim, a man in his late 40s, had no identification. His face, contorted in a silent scream, held a chilling familiarity. Mercer picked up the card, the ink seemingly fresh. It felt strangely out of place, like a calling card from a bygone era. He slipped it into an evidence bag, a knot of unease tightening in his gut. He had a bad feeling about this. This was no ordinary homicide. Elias Mercer was a man of routine. He liked his coffee black, his steaks rare, and his cases solved. But this case, this Jack of Spades murder, as it was quickly dubbed by the department, was throwing him off his game. The lack of leads, the strange calling card, it all felt staged, theatrical. He ran his hand through his short, dark hair, feeling a dull ache behind his temples. Days bled into nights as Mercer pursued every lead, every dead end. The pressure was mounting, the city's fear palpable. The media had a field day, painting the unknown killer as a modern-day Jack the Ripper. Mercer knew better. This wasn't random, this was personal. He found himself losing time, forgetting details, entire conversations vanishing like smoke. He started seeing things, shadows lurking at the edge of his vision, whispers carried on the wind. The city he knew, the job he loved, it all felt like it was slipping away. The hallucinations were getting worse. Vivid, grotesque images flashed before his eyes, waking him from a restless sleep with a gasp. He saw the Jack of Spades everywhere, on billboards, in newspapers, even reflected in the rain-slicked streets. His once sharp mind felt clouded, his thoughts a jumbled mess. He started doubting himself, his sanity. Was he losing his mind, cracking under pressure, or was something else at play? Something darker, more sinister. He had always prided himself on his rational mind, his ability to separate fact from fiction, but now the lines were blurring, reality itself seeming to warp and twist around him. He confided in his partner, Detective Sarah Davies, a seasoned investigator with a no-nonsense attitude and a quick wit. He trusted her implicitly, but even she couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. He was a puppet dancing to a tune he couldn't hear, controlled by an unseen hand. Sarah, ever the skeptic, initially dismissed Elias's concerns as stress-induced hallucinations, but the increasing frequency and intensity of his episodes, coupled with his erratic behavior, forced her to reconsider. She had never seen him like this, so agitated, so unhinged. It wasn't like him. One evening, while combing through the case files, Sarah stumbled upon a news article buried deep within a pile of reports. It was an old story, almost a decade old, about a Dr. Celeste Monroe, a brilliant but controversial neuroscientist who had been ostracized from the scientific community for her radical research on mind control. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Could this be the missing link they had been searching for? She showed the article to Elias, a glimmer of recognition flickering in his eyes. He remembered Celeste, vaguely. They had crossed paths years ago when he was a rookie detective investigating a case involving a series of unexplained suicides. The case had gone cold, but the memory of Celeste, with her piercing gaze and unsettling aura, had stayed with him. Section 5. Project Marionette. Dr. Celeste Monroe lived a reclusive life on the outskirts of the city, her once celebrated career now a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. She had dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of the human mind, to pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible. But her pursuit of knowledge had come at a steep price. Years ago, Celeste had stumbled upon a groundbreaking discovery, a way to control the human mind through a combination of advanced technology and subtle psychological manipulation. Her research, funded by a shadowy government agency, had given birth to Project Marionette, a top-secret program aimed at creating the perfect spies, soldiers who would obey orders without question, without hesitation. But Celeste had underestimated the ethical implications of her work, the potential for abuse. When she realized the true nature of the government's intentions, she tried to shut down the project, to destroy her research, but it was too late. The government had what they wanted, and they weren't about to let her stand in their way. Section 6. Confronting the Puppet Master. Elias, his mind reeling from Celeste's revelations, felt a surge of anger course through him. He had been played, manipulated like a pawn in a game of chess. The Jack of Spades murders, the hallucinations, it was all a carefully orchestrated charade to keep him distracted, to prevent him from seeing the truth. He remembered the face of the victim now, the chilling familiarity. It was Senator Raymond Vance, the powerful chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, the man responsible for overseeing Project Marionette. Vance had been using the program for his own gain, eliminating rivals, silencing critics. The Jack of Spades was his calling card, a symbol of his power, his control. Elias confronted Vance, his voice shaking with suppressed fury, but Vance just smiled, a cold, calculating smile that sent shivers down Elias's spine. "You're a puppet detective," Vance sneered, "and you've played your part beautifully." Vance, confident in his control over Elias, revealed the extent of his manipulation. He showed Elias fabricated evidence, doctored reports, even staged video footage of Elias committing the murders himself. Elias watched in horror as his own image on the screen pulled the trigger, his face contorted in a mask of cold-blooded indifference. He wanted to scream, to deny everything, but the words wouldn't come. His mind, his memories felt like someone else's. He was trapped in a nightmare, his own life turned into a weapon against him. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He was a danger to himself, to everyone around him. Vance, his eyes gleaming with triumph, leaned forward. "You see, detective," he whispered, "reality is what I make it. And in my reality, you're a murderer." Elias, desperate to break free from Vance's control, reached out to Celeste. She was his only hope, the only one who understood the intricacies of Project Marionette, the only one who could help him regain control. Together they devised a plan, a risky gambit to expose the program and bring Vance down. Celeste, working tirelessly in her makeshift lab, managed to isolate the frequencies used to control Elias. She created a device, a neural disruptor, that could potentially break the hold of the program, but it was a long shot. The technology was untested, the risks unknown. Time was running out. Vance, aware of their plan, was closing in. He had already dispatched his agents, shadows lurking in the corners of their minds, whispers promising retribution. The air crackled with tension as Elias, armed with Celeste's device, confronted Vance in a final showdown. The city lights twinkled below, oblivious to the battle raging above. Vance, his face contorted in a mask of rage, pressed a button on a remote control. Elias felt a surge of pain, his vision blurring, his body rebelling against him. "You can't escape me, detective," Vance snarled. "You're mine. You always have been." But Elias had one last card to play. He activated Celeste's device, a pulse of energy surging through him. The pain intensified, his mind on fire. He saw flashes of his life, his career, his love for the city he had sworn to protect. And then, a cold, calculating calm washed over him. He knew what he had to do. He lunged for Vance, a look of grim determination on his face. He slammed the device against Vance's chest, the air filled with the smell of burning flesh. Vance screamed, his body convulsing, his eyes wide with terror. The remote control clattered to the ground, the kill switch activated. The news of Senator Vance's death sent shockwaves through the city. The official story, a fabricated tale of a lone gunman with a grudge. The Jack of Spades murders remained unsolved, the truth buried deep within the corridors of power. Elias, cleared of all charges, returned to his life, a haunted look in his eyes. He had his memories back, but at what cost? The lines between reality and manipulation remained blurred, the whispers of control never fully silenced. He carried the weight of his actions, the knowledge of a conspiracy that went deeper than he could have ever imagined. A leaked report surfaced months later, detailing the existence of Project Marionette. It was quickly dismissed as a conspiracy theory. But for Elias, it was confirmation. He was free, but the program, the puppet master, remained at large, its strings still pulling at the fabric of reality. He was left with an unsettling question, a question that haunted his every waking moment. Was he truly free, or was he still a puppet dancing to a tune he couldn't hear?